If you like sweet medieval combat, then you've come to the right place. Today we've got two teams battling it out in a clan versus clan fight for Bannerlord. Welcome Knights! Today we're covering a Bannerlord Field Battle League event. It's the Kingdom of Hordaland versus SVCI in a 25-a-side medieval fight. Round 1 begins. For those of you new to BFL events, our two clans will duke it out in a best of 10 fight. The first clan to win 6 rounds will be victorious. We've got 2 of Bannerlord's elite clans on the field today, but only one can triumph. The blue team are SVCI and the red, the Kingdom of Hordaland. SVCI have taken control point B, which forces KOH to come to them. They attempt a wide flank around the edge of the courtyard, but SVCI match their movements. And here it is, the first clash of the match. Both teams throw themselves into the fray and start landing blows on the opposing team. KOH seem to be getting the first kills and SVCI numbers start to drop. The red team had a very aggressive opening there, but the blues are holding strong. There's currently 22 players from both teams left on the field. As the fight continues, you can see that the blue team get backed into a corner. The KOH in the reds surround them and begin to rack up the kills and take the lead. The blue team have nowhere to maneuver, which means their shields are up with very little options to attack. KOH take advantage. Some of the blue team do manage to escape and start attacking from the rear, but I think it's too late, guys. They've got half as many men on the battlefield now as KOH. It's only a matter of time before they're all cut down. And that's it. It looks like round 1 goes to the red team. Round 2 begins. It's currently 1 point to the Kingdom of Hordaland and none to SVCI. Let's see if they can claw it back in the second round. The blue team head towards control point B once again and begin to take it. But elsewhere on the battlefield, the reds have taken control point C just before them. This means the other flags disappear and the blues are forced to go on the offensive. Each team is predominantly made up of infantry. However, both have a handful of archers and cavalry to add to the mix. If you look closely, you'll also notice that some of the infantry hold spears while others hold swords. The spears are great for anti-cavalry, while the swords are perfect for taking out the enemy infantry. There's a bit of a standoff as both teams work out exactly how they're going to handle the current situation. The reds decide to fall back and form a defensive line around the control point. Their shields are up to protect themselves from the incoming crossbow bolts. Further up the field, the blues are taking shelter behind this fence, preparing themselves for the charge, which could happen any second. And here we go, the reds move over as the blues charge in and the first clash of round 2 begins. The blues brace themselves against that building, forming a narrow choke point from which to attack the reds. The reds, though, are holding strong at the moment. Cavalry race around the infantry blob, picking off unsuspecting troops that break away from the main formation. Once again, though, it looks like the reds are getting the upper hand. The blue numbers are starting to dwindle. They fall back looking to consolidate their forces. The reds see this and decide to take the opportunity to charge in and finish them off once and for all. And that's it, guys. It's another KOH victory for round 2. On to the next one. At the beginning of round 3, it's now 2 points to the Kingdom of Hordaland, still none to SVCI. The cavalry engagement begins as both teams seek to take out an early control point. The Kingdom of Hordaland sweep in and begin to take control point C. Oh, but they're too late though. The blues have already taken control point A. That's going to force them to go on the offensive. The reds set off for the main central courtyard. They're going to have to watch out though. Blue cavalry could be lurking around any corner. As they go over the crest of the hill, the blue team come into view. They've actually come out of their defensive positions and attack the reds head on. They're obviously feeling very confident this round. Let's see if that aggression pays off. The melee begins and SVCI already 1 player ahead. Oh, and that cavalry comes by and evens the odds. The blue team desperately needs some spears to their rear. They need an answer to that KOH cavalry that keeps taking them out. The melee moves into this narrow passageway. The horsemen are going to struggle now as they charge in. There's just too many troops. It's too dense for them to get a good hit. This round is much more even than the last. I can see men from both teams going down. Could this be the first win for SVCI? Oh, I'm not sure, guys. Just as I said that, the numbers did start to drop for the blue team. It just goes to show, guys, these games are so volatile. If you take your eye off the prize for just a couple of seconds, that's all it takes for the opponent to get the upper hand. The Reds charge in and mop up the remaining blue team. That's a third win for the KOH. On to the next one. At the beginning of round 4, there's now 3 victories to the Kingdom of Hordaland, still none for SVCI. They're going to need to turn this around soon, otherwise this is going to be a very short game. I know this feels one-sided, guys, but trust me, SVCI are a very formidable team. There's a really strong chance that we can expect a comeback in the next few rounds. Cavalry from the KOH do harass their team, however the shields are up and there's no good targets. Oh, but look at this! I'm not sure what happened there, guys, but the red team seem to have taken control point C, which means the blues are forced to come to them once again. The Reds are taking up a defensive position behind this wall, however they don't like the look of it. It looks a bit precarious, so they've decided to fall back to the safety of the buildings behind them. They need to be careful though, they have given up the high ground to the blue team. Their crossbowmen will have a great vantage point from up there. A cavalry engagement does break out to the side. Oh, and that blue cavalryman goes down. That was a great hit. Taking one out this early in the game will be an advantage for sure. The blue team sweep around the left using the buildings to brace themselves. The red though are playing a bit more passive. They've fallen back into a narrow pathway, holding a firm shield wall. The blues feel like this might be a trap, so they're sitting tight for now, waiting to see what the reds do. And this is it, guys. The reds move over, the blues charge in, and the combat officially begins. The blue team get behind the reds and hold the choke point. Oh, but look at that. The red cavalry are behind them, absolutely destroying them from the rear. Where are the blue cavalrymen? They should be protecting their team against them. Have they all been killed already? That was an absolute crushing defeat for the blue team. The Reds just surrounded and destroyed them. I think there what did it for them was that early cavalry victory. The Blues just did not have an answer for that rear charge. Well played to the Kingdom of Hordaland once again. Let's move on to the next round. Round 5 officially begins, and guys, it's looking rough for SVCI. Kingdom of Hordaland have 4 wins, still none for the blue team. To put that in perspective, the Reds just need 2 more wins and then they've won the entire game. SVCI managed to take the central control point, which means they can go defensive. Rather than rushing out this time, they've decided to hold back. Maybe this change of tactic is exactly what they need. As the Reds head into the courtyard, the Blues charge in and take them completely by surprise. Great maneuver. You can see the KOH crossbowmen coming through the wall, however, their men are in front of them, blocking off most of the targets. With no clear shots available, they're preferring to aim for the cavalry. This one comes in and gets taken off his horse. This is a much better start to the round for the blue team. If you look at the numbers, it's still very even. Either team could win this one. The Reds have committed a few too many troops to the right there, allowing the Blues to surround them on the left. That could have been detrimental. But they managed to recover. The Blues now have less men and are on the defensive. Oh, I don't know, guys. This looks like another KOH steamroll. Can SVCI bring it back? I mean, there are a few men down, but it's not impossible. They could still win this. KOH are feeling very confident. There's a large number of red infantry on the field. They charge in, looking to take out the remaining blue infantry. Oh, but the blue crossbowmen are hiding behind these walls. The Reds did not anticipate that. Quite a number of them go down there to crossbow bolts. And I think, guys, the Blues are turning it around. They've actually done it. Well played to SVCI. This is their first victory of the game. Well played. They desperately needed that. Perhaps that's the start of a winning streak. We move into round 6. 4 points for Kingdom of Hordaland, 1 point for SVCI. We're now at half-time. In the name of fairness, the teams swap over starting positions. The Blues are now Kingdom of Hordaland. The Reds are now SVCI. This is done to maintain fairness and make sure that neither team have unfair starting positions. KOH were going for the control point down there in the dockyards, but the Reds took the central control point just before them. The Blues are forced to go on the offensive. The Reds put their shields up and wait for the inevitable charge. The Blues surge forward in unison, and as we slow it down here, you can see both teams clash. Fighting breaks out amongst the infantry, however, the cavalry are nowhere to be seen. There must be another engagement elsewhere on the battlefield. The Blues do fall back slightly. The Reds are playing very, very aggressive. Remember, we have switched colours for the second half, so the Reds are SVCI now, KOH are in the blue. Oh, and the Horsemen charge in. That's a lot of good hits. They break up the KOH shield wall, and SVCI take full advantage of the disarray. They charge in and go on the offensive. It's not looking good for KOH. Their numbers start to drop. The Reds shift slightly to the left, looking to divide and conquer down the narrow alleyway. The Blues on the right are unsure what to do. They falter as the Reds take advantage. SVCI cavalry comes around the corner and narrowly misses that KOH fighter. That must have been inches away from hitting him on the helmet. He narrowly avoided getting skewered, but goes down to a crossbow bolt from behind. The KOH just don't have the numbers anymore. The Red charge in and mop up the remaining fighters. Well played to SVCI, that's the second victory for them this game. Stick around, guys. I don't think the KOH are going to win this so easily. Round 7 begins. Kingdom of Hordaland have 4 points, SVCI 2. Both teams rush the centre courtyard. It looks like both just want to get this over and done with as soon as possible. They go straight into the melee, full force. Remember guys, the KOH just need 2 more wins to be victorious. SVCI need 4. The KOH though can't afford to get complacent. They've lost the last 2 rounds. They can't afford to lose anymore. Oh, it's not a good start for them. SVCI are literally running circles around them. KOH are getting a little bit boxed in as the red team surround them. That said, the KOH are starting to do a little bit better in this centre. I don't think they've got so many cavalry and archers, but their infantry are looking very healthy right now. SVCI just need to hold the line and let their cavalry do most of the work. And that's exactly what's happening. I can see the cavalry getting some great hits in the back there. The Blues are all too aware that they've lost a lot of men in the last few seconds. They're starting to fall back, unsure what to do next. They just don't have the numbers to control the battlefield now. The red team sweep in, and I think, guys, it's going to be another victory for SVCI. This is exactly what they need. They were 4 down at the start, but I think the comeback's on. They've almost done it, guys. They just have to go a little bit further. Round 8 begins. Kingdom of Hordaland is still out in front with 4 points, but SVCI are close behind with 3. Honestly, at the beginning of this game, I thought it was going to be a KOH victory by a landslide, but now, I'm not so sure. Let's see how this plays out. SVCI are looking very confident. They charge straight into the melee there, but they have to be careful. Confidence doesn't equal victory. They're going to have to use some sensible tactics if they're going to turn this around. The KOH are surging forwards and pushing the Reds through that narrow gap. That's going to create a nice narrow point for which both teams can hold a shield wall. A red cavalryman gets behind the lines there. Oh, and that's a nice kill from the back. Infantry on both sides are fairly even at the moment, but the cavalry from SVCI does seem to be outperforming KOH right now. The Blues are starting to lose it, but they are taking a large number of Reds with them. Can they hold on? If the KOH win this, they're just 1 away from victory. Oh, but I think it's just slipped through their fingers. SVCI claw it back, and it looks like this round's gonna belong to them. Well played to both teams. So, I don't know how this happened, guys, but the scores are now neck and neck, 4 points to both teams. What was looking like a one-sided battle is now suddenly looking much more close. KOH attempt to capture control point B, but it looks like SVCI captures C on the other side of the field. KOH are forced to make the long journey across the entire map. Instead of going through the main archways, they head right and attempt to get a flank on the Reds. but SVCI see it coming. They adjust their formation to match the Blues' movements. Crossbowmen fire at the opposing teams, but they land on the shields that have been raised and cause no damage. This round is going to be won by getting up close and personal. The KOH can feel this one slipping through their fingers, so they just charge straight in, trying to get this 5th victory by any means possible. I'm no expert in Bannerlord combat, but I've heard from those who are that pressing the S key and moving backwards is not what you want to do. You always want to have forward momentum and push the opposing force backwards. If your teammates around you crumble, it leaves you isolated and you can get surrounded and taken out quite quickly. So maintaining positions and moving forwards is very important. So if you look at where the Blues started, they've been pushing the Reds backwards bit by bit. Those Reds that fall behind at the back there are being surrounded and cut down, while the rest of the Blues maintain the front line. That is Bannerlord team fighting at its finest. And with tactics like that, there's nothing SVCI can do. This is a KOH victory. Round 10 begins. The Kingdom of Hordaland have 5 points, SVCI have 4. That means the KOH just need one more victory in order to win the match. If I was SVCI, I'd be feeling more determined than ever to win this one. They've consolidated all of their forces in the courtyard and intend to smash KOH as soon as they come through the gate. And here we go, lads, it all comes down to this. Can the KOH pull off one final victory, or will it go to a 5-all stalemate requiring one more round to be played? It's a good start for SVCI, they're slightly ahead. They've maintained their battle line and the KOH haven't been able to find a weakness yet. The fight continues. A few blue players have got into the back lines and the Reds scramble to plug the gap. Oh, but they've committed too many men to the back. The front crumbles and the Reds begin to step backwards. The Blues surge forwards and press the advantage. Oh, and just like that, SVCI lose 5 players in a matter of seconds. It is not looking good for them. The Blues get around on both flanks. The Reds are being boxed in slowly but surely. This, my friends, is a classic divide and conquer. The Blues fight together, all the Reds are isolated, and one by one they get cut down. This Red Horseman goes for the Blue Crossbowman. Oh, but he just misses. The Crossbowman retaliates and he gets knocked off of his horse. The Blue infantry rush in, and that's it, guys. Game over. KOH are victorious for the entire match.